A few years ago at Davos, you couldn't turn a corner without some conversation about cryptocurrency. This year it's about AI, a spirit of dialogue. But the question is there a silent movement to bring cryptocurrency back to the fore? Well, one person definitely trying to make that happen is Conlan. She's Chief Marketing Officer at Binance and speaking with us this freezing morning. Rachel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. It is definitely freezing.
Okay, so just with the point that I started, where a few years ago it did seem like crypto is going to be the big revolution. That story seems to have dimmed. Why do you think that is? Is it because of a lot of pushback? A, pushback from governments, and B, the idea that it's not really changing things at the pace that people thought?
Ooh, I'm going to take a little bit of a contrarian view to this. I think that rather than dim, it's in fact become part of the agenda, as is AI, and as we're seeing, we've just, as Binance, we're the largest crypto exchange globally. In the last 18 months, we've grown 150 million users to 300 million users across 180 markets. We have a full team of 12 on the ground here at Davos, and that is upon invitation from many of our traditional financial industry partners, from the Web 2 partners, and what we're seeing, is really where we've moved from something that was about the wealth narrative and about FOMO, we're really moving to crypto, digital assets, blockchain, being fully integrated, and the merging of traditional and digital assets. And I think that's something that's been great for us this week, is seeing that take shape and really manifest itself in more actual, tangible use cases.
Now, I'll tell you why I'm asking that question, because when the crypto craze, quote unquote, started, the idea was that in a few years, no one will be using plastic or, any payment gateways or real money, definitely not. It's going to all be crypto. That hasn't really happened. It's more a store of value, in a sense, an investment tool right now?
Oh, well, I think what we're seeing at the moment is, digital assets were never there to replace sovereign currencies. And what we're seeing now is really the growth of digital infrastructure. And if you see from the discussions that we're having, across the traditional banking space, with many of the big e-commerce players, what we're seeing is a drive towards stablecoins and payments. Just last month, we launched MasterCard alongside Binance in Latin America. That's about to roll out globally over the next year. And these are really where we're seeing a full integration of blockchain and traditional finance, and an improvement. And that makes, payment rails faster, it makes cross-border payments faster. Ultimately, it's towards us building a financial infrastructure that is more in line with how the modern user and consumer lives, whether you be in India, UAE, or Ireland. So, I think that's something that we're seeing. It's becoming the invisible technology that's supporting the modernization and optimization of the financial world. So, we may not call it the financial revolution anymore, but it's definitely an evolution in terms of the integrations that we're seeing.
No, so it's definitely top of mind in the last 1 year because of the backing of the U.S. president, clearly, for cryptocurrency. Trump is arriving today in some time. What do you make of the changes that have happened in the last 1 year? It's impacted prices also very positively in some ways, and it's been quite volatile. That's something you track as an exchange. How do you think that this is going to continue? Do you think it now settles once it's clear that Trump is backing crypto?
Look, I think that the U.S. has always had a disproportionate amount of influence on regulation across every industry. In the history of the last 40 years, if we look at regulated industries, the U.S. policies have always informed. What I'm seeing from my vantage point at Binance is that the U.S. clarity really made a push globally towards there being more clarity. We've been invited in with too many governments to have discussions around what should be their blockchain strategy. How do they integrate it into their economy in a way that's safe and compliant? And as one of the most compliant exchanges, and one that has been pushing for regulation, because clear rules and regulation supports more user confidence, more user adoption, and ultimately, that's what we as a business and industry industry are pushing for. So for me, I welcome the clarity from the US, but furthermore, I'm welcoming the clarity from many other markets where we're seeing around the world, from Kyrgyzstan to increased clarity in UAE, to what we're seeing in India.
No, so are you speaking with governments, institutions in India? Because in India, policy-wise, it's quite clear. There's not much ambiguity. The gates are up, unless it's a CBDC, a central bank kind of a situation. So, having said that, you have also said India is one of your brightest markets. How do you reckon with the interest from India versus the government regulation there?
Look, I think we need to take a reality check on where we are today. The users are there in India. The technology is there. India is one of the fastest growing in terms of adoption globally for crypto. That represents a huge domestic and international opportunity. And what we're seeing from our vantage point is a lot of positive progress. And I think the best example of that is, this year we received our licensing from the FIU. And that really is a testament to us stepping in the right